I'm 23 and just got engaged to the love of my life. We've been together since we were both 19, met in college, did the whole long-distance thing after graduation, and somehow made it work. We recently moved in together and decided to take the next step. It's been a dream. My fiancé is kind, stable, and exactly what I never thought I'd find. My family, on the other hand, is complicated. Especially my older sister, Marissa. She's 28, beautiful, loud, attention-grabbing, the kind of person who lights up a room, whether or not it's her event. Growing up, she was always the one people noticed. She was prom queen, always had a new boyfriend, and somehow made even my birthdays about her. But I learned to live with it. Honestly, I even admired her at times. She's been through a lot: bad relationships, job issues, drama with friends. I've always tried to be there for her, even when she made everything about herself. So when I got engaged, I went out of my way to include her. Made her my maid of honor, gave her freedom to help with planning, even let her choose her own dress, within reason. We were planning an engagement party with close friends and family. Nothing too huge, just a nice backyard evening with lights and music and food. My fiancé's family flew in, my parents helped set up, and everything was going smoothly, until Marissa arrived. And that's where this story starts to go off the rails. She walked in, late as always, and the entire yard went silent. Because she was wearing a full-length white gown. Not just any white dress. A wedding dress. Lace bodice, tulle skirt, veil, and all. I didn't know what to do. People were whispering, my future mother-in-law looked horrified, and even my fiancé looked stunned. Marissa walked up smiling like nothing was wrong and said she just thought it would be funny and thematic. She laughed it off and started greeting guests, acting like this was a totally normal thing to do. My mom pulled me aside and said to just ignore it. Don't start drama, she whispered. This is your day. But the problem was, everyone was looking at her, talking about her, taking pictures of her, like she was the bride. And the worst part? She loved it. I tried to keep it together. Smiled through clenched teeth, shook hands with guests, posed for pictures. But all I could see in the background of every moment was Marissa in that white dress, sipping champagne like she owned the night. People kept congratulating her, thinking she was the bride. I heard one of my fiancé's aunts ask her when the wedding was, and Marissa just giggled and said, "Oh, it's a work in progress." That's when I knew this wasn't some innocent mistake. She wanted attention. She needed it. I pulled my mom aside again, asking her to say something to Marissa. Tell her to change or at least take off the veil. But Mom just gave me this tight smile and said, "You know your sister. If we push her, she'll make it worse." And maybe she was right. That's the worst part, Marissa thrives on chaos. Confrontation just feeds her. So I gritted my teeth and focused on my fiancé. He could tell I was upset and tried to distract me, making jokes and steering conversations away from Marissa. We tried to ignore her and enjoy the night, and for a little while, it worked. Until the toasts. We'd asked a few close friends and family members to say a few words. Nothing big, just casual speeches. My fiancé's brother went first. He was sweet, heartfelt, funny. Then my best friend gave a short, emotional speech that actually made me cry a little. Everything felt warm again. And then Marissa stood up. She hadn't been asked to give a toast. She just stood up and tapped her glass with a fork like this was her moment. The entire backyard went quiet. And then she started talking. And that's where everything completely fell apart. So there she was, standing in the middle of our engagement party in a wedding dress, holding a champagne flute like she was about to accept an Oscar. At first, her toast seemed harmless. She said she was so proud of me, that I'd really grown up, and that our relationship had come such a long way. It was fake sweet, like frosting over a rotten cake. Everyone was smiling politely, but the tension in the air was obvious. Then she dropped her voice a little, gave this dramatic pause, and said, "But I think it's time I shared something even the bride hasn't admitted." I froze. She smiled and said, "You guys don't know this, but I actually dated her fiancé first." I swear, you could hear the wind stop. She said it like it was some hilarious story, how they met at a party years ago, hooked up once, but it didn't work out. Total dud, she added, giggling. No offense. Then she turned to me with this smug look and said, "But I guess you saw something I didn't." I felt like the air had been punched out of me. My fiancé went pale. My dad's face dropped. And the worst part? Some people actually laughed. Like it was funny. Like humiliating me on one of the biggest nights of my life was just some quirky big sister thing. The story wasn't even true. I knew it wasn't. I met my fiancé 2 years after Marissa had already moved across the country. They'd never even been in the same city since then. But no one else knew that. She said it with so much confidence, like it was just a funny little memory, and now the whole room was buzzing. People were whispering. Someone actually clinked their glass and shouted, "Awkward." I just stood there, gripping my wine glass so tightly I thought it would crack. That moment broke something in me. And that's not even the worst thing she did that night. Let me know if you're ready for part 4. Because what she did next wasn't just petty, it was planned, calculated. And it made me question everything about why she came at all. After her toast, I slipped away to the bathroom to collect myself. I splashed water on my face, trying not to cry and ruin my makeup. I couldn't believe she'd done that. Not just the dress. Not just the fake story about my fiancé. But in front of my friends, his family, my family, she made me look like a joke. When I finally walked back out, something felt off. The vibe had shifted. It wasn't just awkward anymore, it was tense. People weren't smiling, they were murmuring, glancing at their phones, avoiding eye contact. That's when my fiancé pulled me aside. He looked pale, shaken, and told me we had a problem. His cousin had shown him something Marissa had sent to a few people. A screenshot of a text. And that text was supposedly from me. It made me look awful. The message said something like, "This is just for fun anyway. I don't even think he's the one." It was filled with little jabs and backhanded comments, supposedly things I'd written about my fiancé. Except, I never wrote that. Not even close. I would never say anything like that. And I knew immediately what had happened. Marissa had faked the message. She must have made a fake number, saved it as mine, and texted herself those lies. Then screenshot them and leaked them to people at the party. And people believed her. That's why everyone was looking at me differently. That's why his cousin asked him if he was okay. That's why 2 of my bridesmaids had slipped out early. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. It felt like I was spiraling, watching my entire engagement unravel in real time, and the worst part was, I had no idea how far she'd taken it. But trust me, I found out. Let me know if you're ready for part 5, because what she did next crossed a line so far, even my parents turned on her. By the time my fiancé showed me the screenshot, my hands were shaking so hard I couldn't even hold my phone. It didn't matter that I knew it was fake. The damage was already spreading like wildfire. People were whispering. Guests who were dancing an hour ago were suddenly looking for their coats. My engagement party was crumbling in front of me. I went looking for Marissa, but of course, she was nowhere. She'd pulled this stunt and vanished, probably basking in the chaos from some dark corner of the house. And that's when my mom found me. She looked flustered, pale. Said she'd found something upstairs that I needed to see right now. She led me to my childhood bedroom, where we had stored a bunch of gifts and cards guests had brought. And there, right on the bed, was a pile of ripped wrapping paper, torn envelopes, and opened cards. Most of the gifts were gone. The cash envelopes? Empty. I just stood there, staring. My mom was speechless, but I could tell she already knew who'd done it. There were a few bags in the corner, half-packed with boxes and crumpled paper stuffed inside. She didn't want to believe it, but there was no denying it. Marissa had snuck upstairs while everyone was distracted, opened the cards, and taken the money. That was the moment the switch flipped. For years, my parents had walked on eggshells around her. Excused her mood swings. Let her Marissa her way through every event. But this? Stealing from my guests? My engagement party? That finally broke them. My dad, who almost never raises his voice, marched downstairs and demanded she come out. And when she didn't respond, he went through every room until he found her hiding out in the den, sipping wine and texting like nothing had happened. He called her out in front of everyone. Said the party was over. Told her to return every single thing she'd taken. And that's when the meltdown started. Marissa didn't apologize. She doubled down. Said she'd deserved compensation for all the effort she put in as maid of honor. That she gave up her weekend to come celebrate me. She even said, loud enough for everyone to hear, that at least someone got something out of this boring disaster. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. My mom was crying. My fiancé's parents looked horrified. And my friends? They were stunned silent. But I wasn't. For the first time in years. I spoke up. And what I said next changed everything. Let me know if you're ready for part 6, because I finally snapped, and I don't think there's any going back from it. I don't know what came over me, but after years of letting things slide, I just couldn't take it anymore. She was still ranting about how I owed her for showing up, still wearing that ridiculous wedding dress, still holding a glass of wine like she was the guest of honor, when I lost it. I walked right up to her, heart pounding, and said exactly what I'd been swallowing for years. I told everyone about the fake text messages she sent, how she manufactured drama to ruin my night, how she lied about ever dating my fiancé just to humiliate me, how she stole from guests who came to celebrate us. And then I looked at her, really looked at her, and said the one thing I'd never dared to say out loud. You can't stand it when it's not about you. The silence was brutal. You could hear people shifting, glasses clinking nervously. No one defended her. Not this time. Marissa tried to laugh it off, but it was forced. She looked around the room for backup, but no one spoke. Not even our mom. Especially not our mom. My dad took the bags from the corner of the bedroom and dumped them in front of her. Told her she had two choices, return the gifts or leave and never come back. She left. No apology. No explanation. Just stormed out in her wedding dress with her shoes in her hand like a scene from some tragic play. And for a long time, no one said anything. The party was over. But something else had shifted that night. Because for the first time in my life, people saw her for what she really was. And for the first time, I stopped apologizing for being the one she tried to destroy. Let me know if you're ready for part 7, because even though she walked out, she wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. I thought the worst was over when Marissa stormed out of the party. I thought we could move on, clean up the mess, and salvage what was left of our engagement weekend. But I underestimated her. The next morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls, 36 texts, and a flood of messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. My heart dropped before I even unlocked my phone. Marissa had gone online. She posted a long, tear-soaked video on social media, full glam, mascara smudged just enough to look tragic, saying she was bullied out of her sister's engagement party. She spun the whole story, said I had always been jealous of her, that I'd invited her as a joke, then turned everyone against her when she showed up. She claimed she offered to help, and I repaid her by accusing her of theft and humiliating her in front of our family. And she didn't stop there. She tagged people. She posted a photo of the dress captioned, "Would you call this a wedding dress? Or am I just not allowed to look nice at my own sister's event?" She made herself look like the misunderstood older sister who just wanted to be part of the celebration. And people fell for it. Her followers, strangers, mostly, flooded the comments with support. You deserve better. Your sister sounds toxic. Blood doesn't mean loyalty. People shared the video. Defended her. Called me a bridezilla. She'd hijacked the narrative. Again. I was furious, hurt, completely overwhelmed. But my fiancé? He had a plan. And in part 8, I'll tell you how we fought back, and why Marissa's story started unraveling fast. While I sat there overwhelmed, scrolling through comments calling me everything from a jealous sister to a narcissistic bride, my fiancé was calm. Too calm. He told me not to respond. Not yet. Instead, he started reaching out to the guests, quietly, one by one. Friends, cousins, aunts, even coworkers. Just asking them to write down what they saw, what they heard, what really happened that night. And they delivered. Turns out, people had receipts. One friend had a video of Marissa giving her toast, right down to the fake story about dating my fiancé. Another cousin had snapped a picture of her dragging the gift bags into the guest room. A bridesmaid had text messages from Marissa the week before the party, saying she was going to make the night unforgettable and shake things up a bit. It was all there, her plan, her lies, her twisted idea of fun. One of the most damning things came from my mom's friend, who caught Marissa red-handed opening an envelope and stuffing the cash into her purse. She hadn't said anything at the time because she didn't want to cause drama. But now? She was furious, and ready to speak up. With all this, my fiancé compiled a calm, non-emotional post. Just facts, screenshots, videos, testimonies. He posted it from his account. No insults, no name-calling. Just the truth. And it exploded. Within hours, Marissa's video was being called out as fake. People started turning on her in the comments. Some even apologized to me directly, saying they hadn't known the whole story. But here's the thing, she still didn't back down. Instead, she went even lower. And in part 9, I'll tell you exactly how far she was willing to go, because what she did next affected not just me, but someone completely innocent. Just when I thought she couldn't stoop any lower, Marissa proved me wrong. The morning after my fiancé posted the evidence, she went quiet. Her usual flood of story posts, selfies, quotes about healing, stopped. For 24 hours, nothing. I thought maybe, she'd finally accepted defeat. Then the messages started. My best friend, Claire, called me crying. Marissa had tagged her in a new post and accused her of orchestrating the engagement party takedown. Said Claire had always hated her and was secretly in love with my fiancé. She even posted old photos of the three of us from college, twisted captions implying Claire had been plotting to take her down for years. Claire is one of the kindest, most non-confrontational people I know. She's been by my side through everything, never once had an issue with Marissa. And now she was getting death threats in her DMs because my sister decided she needed a new target. That was it for me. This wasn't just drama anymore. This was calculated cruelty, and it was hurting people who had nothing to do with her breakdown. So I contacted a lawyer. I didn't want to go that route. I didn't want to drag our family name through the mud or blow this up further. But Marissa wasn't stopping, and people were starting to ask if we were going to sue. And in part 10, I'll tell you what happened when the lawyer sent that cease and desist, because it finally forced Marissa to show who she really was, and what came out changed everything. I'll never forget the moment I hit send on the lawyer's email. It wasn't a lawsuit, yet. It was a cease and desist letter. Polite but firm. Demanding that Marissa remove all defamatory posts, issue a public retraction, and stop harassing me, my fiancé, and especially Claire. We gave her 72 hours to respond before taking legal action. We expected backlash. More rants. More drama. What we got instead? Silence. Not a word. No Instagram rants. No cryptic tweets. She deleted every post about me, Claire, and the party. She even made her account private. For a day, it felt like we'd finally cut the head off the storm. But then, she emailed me. It was a long, rambling message. No subject line. Just walls of text. She didn't apologize. Not once. Instead, she told me how hard things had been for her. How she'd always felt invisible since I got engaged. How she thought the party would be her moment too. She blamed the wine, the pressure, the expectations of being the big sister. She said I'd changed and that she only did what she did because she missed me. She said she didn't mean to hurt Claire, just wanted someone to feel what she was feeling. That's when I knew. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry she got caught. Sorry that her narrative unraveled. Sorry that people finally saw her without the spotlight she'd been hogging all her life. So I didn't respond. I didn't post about it. I didn't fight back. I let her sit in the silence she'd tried so hard to avoid. That was 3 months ago. My fiancé and I are still engaged, stronger than ever. We postponed the wedding not because of her, but because we realized we wanted to enjoy this time, free from chaos. Claire's okay now. She stayed by my side through everything, and we've grown even closer. As for Marissa, she's been quiet. Still lives in the same city, still posts selfies, still pretends like nothing happened. But people remember. They saw the truth. And the next time she tries to make herself the main character at someone else's celebration, I doubt anyone will clap. I never thought my engagement party would turn into a war zone. But looking back, maybe it was necessary. Maybe this was the break I needed, the moment where I finally stopped letting her rewrite my story. Because now, this chapter belongs to me.